So far in the application, the active menu item is not highlighted, so it's not clear which page is currently open. And in this lesson, we're going to implement this highlighting so that active menu item will always be highlighted. Let's open up item.blade.php. This is the component which is responsible for rendering individual nav items in the header. And the way we're going to highlight the active nav item will be by adding extra Tailwind CSS class, which is going to make text of the nav item violet. First of all, let's do the following. I'm going to take this attributes object and put it in a separate PHP block right here. We're going to modify this object a little bit. It contains all the attributes that are going to be assigned to that element where we're going to use this attributes object. So by using method called merge, we can specify default values for some attributes. For example, we can assign default value for the class attribute. Let's take this class list and put it in here. So all the attributes and their values will be consolidated under a single attributes object. And then, once we are done with that, we can assign this attributes object to any element. Let's use it on this link, as it was before. And now we have an option to assign additional classes to the link element by simply using class attribute on this component inside the parent component and add any other classes. And these classes are not going to override default classes, but instead they will be merged with the default ones. But for our particular case, to highlight the active menu item, we're not going to use merge method. For our purposes, the more appropriate method will be class method. So let's call it in here. This method also takes associative array where keys are classes and values are expressions or simple Boolean values that determine whether the specified class has to be added to the element or not. So for example, if we'll use true in here, that means that text violet 600 has to be assigned to the link. Otherwise, it would not be assigned. And since we have hard-coded this true value for absolutely every navigation item, as you may guess, now all those navigation items will become violet, as we can see. So to properly highlight the active menu item, we actually have to use the expression which is going to check the current road. So let's call request function, which is going to return special request object, which has a method called road is. This is the method which allows us to check if the current road is actually the one that we are specifying as an argument. So in this case, I'm basically checking if the current road is the road with the name courses. And please note that this name has to be the same as the name that we have specified when calling name method while defining road. So with such implementation, if current road will not be courses, none of the navigation items will be highlighted. But if we'll open up courses page, right away, all navigation items will become violet. That is because in here we are checking for a specific road, and once courses page becomes active, this expression turns true for absolutely all navigation items, since we're hard-coding this expression directly within the component. And what we have to do instead is to actually accept this value from outside, from the parent component. For example, let's accept the result of that expression as isActiveProp. And now all we have to do to pass this prop from the parent component is to specify the prop called isActive right here and use that same expression which checks whether the current road is the one we're specifying as an argument for this road is method call. And since we are within the loop, we're going to call this road is method with different road names on every loop iteration. And this way, once particular road becomes active, this isActiveProp will be true, and therefore the corresponding nav item will become violet. So just to prove it, I'm going to switch back to item.blade.php, and right here, let's add dump statement just to print out the value of the isActiveProp on the page. And by the way, dump is another Laravel helper almost like dd function, with the difference that dump helper will not stop script execution. It will just print out the value on the page that we supply as an argument. So we are going to see this output 5 times because that statement is executed within every nowItem component, and right next to the active nowItem, that value will become true, and as you can see, only active nowItem becomes violet, and for other nowItems, the value of its active prop is false. And that's about it. We're done with highlighting the active nowItem, so let's remove this dump statement and finish the lesson. Link to the source code of this project will be, as always, in the video description.